Hi, Becky. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fucking wonderful.
Awesome.
Try talking normal so I can tell if the
I
audio
don't know how to talk normal.
Yeah, fair. Hey, we're recording a podcast now. Hello, my name is Renee.
My name is Becky.
We are two best friends talking about anything and everything except appliances. So this is our brand new podcast. It's called Anything But Appliances, named as such because of the fact that Becky and I just were talking one day, right? And we decided that we wanted to do a podcast.
Yep.
Like I said that I wanted to do one, you said that you wanted to do one, and we couldn't think of a name, and I was like, well, one day I wanted to eventually do a podcast called Anything But Appliances, because I do so much more stuff than appliances. And then Becky was just like, yeah, sounds good. Let's call it that.
Well, I thought it was a really good idea because I think there's so many different sides of you that TikTok doesn't want to show because they just want you to be in your niche. And I think everybody needs to see these really cool aspects of you. And so, yeah, that sounds awesome. But the
podcast isn't just about me.
I know.
So, what are our plans for this podcast? I'm just trying to, give the people an idea of what this podcast is going to be about. Well, at the very least, you know what it's not going to be about.
Not appliances.
It's not going to be about appliances. Okay, but on a serious note, though, not that any of this podcast is ever going to be serious, because, be real, it's us. I know we want to highlight badass feminists. Doesn't necessarily have to be women, but, highlighting badass feminists, just badass people in general, people that we admire and that we look up to. So we do want to bring more attention to people like that.
Going to be a lot of feminism, a lot of civil rights discussions.
This is probably going to be a very left-leaning podcast, but it's not going to be a political podcast.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't want it to be political. It's really just going to be us talking about stuff that we enjoy, stuff that we're into, stuff that we want to share with the world that we don't otherwise have a platform to do so, I guess.
Just an outlet to talk about a bunch of just really niche little things that don't really have a place, anywhere else that we really want to talk about. We really want to have the chance to talk about these things, and this is really the best outlet for that.
Yeah. Honestly, too, what I think we should do is we should give a little intro about who we are, because just because we think people will know us outside the podcast doesn't mean they necessarily will. So since the name of the podcast is based around the shit that I do. So my name is Renee. I'm an appliance repair tech, and I am also a social media personality. I don't like calling myself an influencer. It sounds so tacky, even though, I understand that I have influence, so I'm technically an influencer, but I have, 650,000 followers on TikTok, 119,000 on Instagram, 181,000 on Facebook now.
Wow.
I have almost 1 million followers combined across all of my platforms, which is very fucking weird. But so I do appliance repair education, and I talk about appliances all the goddamn time. So having a place where I don't have to talk about appliances, and in fact, we're not allowed to talk about appliances. That's the rule.
Absolutely not.
That's rule number 1. This is not Fight Club. This is the Anything But Appliances podcast. And what's the first rule of the Anything But Appliances podcast?
Anything but
You don't
appliances.
talk about appliances. Anything but appliances. So, and I am at Renda on TikTok, at Renda Official on Instagram and Facebook, pretty much everywhere else. And that's me. So who the fuck are you?
That's an interesting question. I'm supposed to have the answer to that one. I don't really even know.
You're my best friend.
The answer. I am Renee's best friend. My name is Becky. I also go by Becks. Anything but Rebecca. That's just the one name that I absolutely hate for myself. Not saying it's not a lovely name. Yeah, I'm Renee's best friend. I'm a mom. I'm a writer. I work in the comic book industry. I work in the casino gaming industry. And I don't really have too many outlets to talk about a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about. And I'm really excited that Renee wanted to share this journey with me. When she said that she wanted to do a podcast, I was very excited that she wanted to include me because she's awesome and she's going places. And I'm just happy that I might get to tag along with her.
Like you're not going places. Yeah, okay.
And I am at lady_McBecks on TikTok. And my author account is at River Bennett, BENNET, on TikTok.
Yes.
So go check those out.
And also, you wrote a book, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later.
Yeah.
But yeah, Becky is an author, so my bestie's so cool. All right, so only other thing that I think we need to mention at the beginning here is currently we are planning on releasing probably about 1 episode a month because we're busy people. we have a lot of stuff going on and very little mental battery to do all of that stuff on. So once a month is about what we're expecting to do. We may increase the frequency or decrease the frequency or whatever, just depending on how we're feeling, but that's kind of what we're shooting for at the moment. So since we are doing it once a month, we have decided our very first segment is going to be the Badass Bitch of the Month. So this month's Badass Bitch of the Month is...
Greta Thunberg.
Heck yes. So, Becky, you were the one that had suggested Greta Thunberg. So, what do you have to talk about with her?
Well, whenever we were talking about this and we thought of the segment, she had just been arrested in Germany for protesting there. And I'd seen pictures of her literally being carried away by the police officers. And she just got the smuggest look on her face. It was just amazing. And she just screamed badass.
Is she even like legally an adult?
She is now. Yeah.
How old is she?
She's either 18 or 19. I can't remember. She might be 20 actually.
It's so weird to me because it feels like in my head she's still like a little kid.
Yeah.
Because that was when she kind of like first started being notable and like started gaining notoriety. So it's wild to me that somebody that young is this much of an activist, which is really cool because like Gen Z, is she technically Gen Z?
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like Gen Z, they are becoming activists at a younger age, which says a lot of bad things about the world, I feel like, because like if the younger generation feels like they really need to be activists that young. But, you know, at the same time, I just have hope that it's like the generation that is raising these Gen Z kids.
Yeah.
We're the ones that I say we like I have a child.
Hey, you've helped raise mine. So.
My child just scratches on the door to be let into my bedroom. I don't have a child. It's a cat. For the record, it's a cat.
I do have a child, and she has helped raise that child.
Your child doesn't scratch at the door to be let in.
No.
Usually?
She usually howls.
So Greta Thunberg, though, she's the badass bitch of the month for sure. For obvious reasons, just I feel like in general. All right, so new segment that I had just thought up.
On the fly. Calling an audible on Superb Owl Day.
What? Calling an audible.
It's a football term.
Is it?
Yes.
Is audible a football term?
It's when the quarterback they're about to make the play, and then the quarterback changes the play on the fly. It's calling an audible.
What about that? Does he say it really loud? It's audible?
He does, yeah. He usually has to call out the play, yeah.
But why do they? That's the dumbest name.
I have absolutely no idea why
football doesn't make sense to me.
Dumb sport has a dumb name for something. I don't know.
If you like football, that's entirely fine. We're not shitting on your passion, but we're just not fans of it.
I enjoy the sport if there wasn't so much time between plays. You see the play,
it takes a long time.
The play is that fast, and then you're setting up the line of scrimmage again. You have to get the chains out. Everybody's got to line up.
The chain?
Yes.
Why are they... That's kinky. Why are they using chains? What sport? In what sport are they using chains?
So anyways, it takes a while between each play, and I get so bored.
I do too.
Boring. But I actually do enjoy the actual plays themselves.
It does, you know what? It does make me wonder if part of the reason why we dislike football is because we have ADHD.
Yeah.
Because that's my least favorite thing about it is just how long it takes. Because it's like a 4-hour game, but there's only like an hour of playtime.
Yeah, it's infuriating. So I actually do enjoy the sport whenever it's actually being played. Fair. And it's not being walked around on the field like.
And then they're calling things audible, and it doesn't make any sense. And nobody actually knows all the rules.
But I apparently know more of them than you thought.
Football. Yeah, you definitely know more about football than I do.
Surprise!
You're from Texas, so
yeah.
I feel like if you didn't know anything about football, Texas would be disappointed. So yeah, anyhow, we're going to do some trivia now. So this is a game that I have. It's Iconic Women Trivia. I do know that these are a lot more difficult than you would think.
Awesome.
So we're going to answer a few of these, or we're going to try to answer a few of these. How about this? How about I ask you 3 and you ask me 3? So we're just going to pick from this deck, and then we're going to see if I know iconic women trivia.
She's going to know this one. Artist Georgia O'Keeffe is best known for her paintings of what?
Vagina flowers.
Hey, flowers. Hey.
I didn't know it was multiple choice. I got it right!
You did!
I said not all of them are easy. I don't know how many are
Do we want to go back and forth?
Oh, yeah, we can go back and forth. That works. Okay, number 2. And now you know that it's multiple choice if you want it to be, or you can just shout out vagina flowers.
I mean, I kind of want to do that anyway because it sounds fun.
Right? Which famed African-American pilot was nicknamed Queen Bess?
Like those multiple choice.
You want the multiple choice? Okay, so we have
Yes.
A, Amelia Earhart, B, Amy Johnson, C, Willa Brown, or D, Bessie Coleman.
I feel like this is a trick question. I feel like it's a trick question. I hate this so much. Oh my god.
Don't hate it.
I'm gonna D.
It is. It is
Oh,
in
thank
fact.
God.
It is in fact Bessie Coleman.
God.
Bessie Coleman is Queen Bess.
I was like, this feels like a trick. This feels like a trap.
That's why I was just like, you can get this. Vagina flowers.
No.
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 No. You just read the question and you just say no?
No, in response to your shouting of vagina.
Oh, vagina flowers is not the correct answer to this
Exactly.
random question.
Okay. Colleen Rowley is a whistleblower and American former special agent of which organization?
Vagina flowers.
No.
Continue.
A. CISA. B. NSA. C. CIA. D. FBI.
What the hell is the CISA?
Central Intelligence Security Administration?
I don't know. Is she in the CISA? Let's say that.
No.
I don't know what the fuck that is. What
No.
is she? Was
FBI.
she? She was in the FBI.
Yeah.
So who's that? That's Colleen Rowley. Well, go Colleen Rowley in the FBI, whoever you are.
I want to look up what the CIA is.
I am so confused and intrigued. Okay.
I'm guessing Central Intelligence Security Administration.
Probably.
That is my guess.
Okay, so
Based on my brief stint actually going to college for intelligence studies.
And you were in the military.
Yes. With a top secret SCI security clearance.
I don't think I would have known this, but I think you would know. Maybe. I don't know. Who made their feature film debut in Jamon Jamon in 1992? A. Ava Longoria, B. Sofia Vergara, C. Penelope Cruz, or D. Selma Hayek?
What was the year?
1992.
92.
Ava Longoria, Sofia Vergara, Penelope Cruz, or Selma Hayek?
Sofia Vergara.
Nope, Penelope Cruz.
Okay.
All right, we're tied. So we're doing one more each, right? Yeah,
Yep.
because we were doing...
Name the Italian scientists who jointly discovered the nerve growth factor. A. Margarita Hack. B. Sechizorn.
I could probably pronounce that. It sounds like it's French.
C. Eva Mameli. D. Rita Levi Montalcini.
I don't know who any of these women are, which is really that's the entire
anybody whose
point.
languages those names are in.
This is why we are making this a segment, because I
Yes.
don't know any of those names, but we
Exactly.
should. What was the first one?
Margarita Hack.
Let's say that one, because you can pronounce it. It's not her.
It's not.
Who is it?
Rita Levi Montalcini. Montalcini?
Let's see. So we
That
got
is the most Italian
Margarita
sounding
Hack.
name.
Bice? How do you... B-I-C-E.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to make fun of her name, but I feel bad because I'm just like, it sounds like it's gonna be pronounced bitch, but like fancy. She's a fancy bitch. Biche. Bice? Bice? I don't know. I understand why you had difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Ava Mameli, Rita Levi Montalcini.
That's how I ended up saying it.
You got there.
It took me
You
a
got
while.
there. You got
There
there.
were a few iterations that were not Montalcini. My apologies.
Your turn.
Okay.
Hopefully the names will be easier to pronounce this time. Let's see. Maybe you'll get it. Eugene, which is interesting because her name is spelled E-U-G-I-N-E, and it is a woman. Eugene Clark built a career exploring oceans like the Red Sea and swimming with dangerous fish. What nickname was she known by? A, the Sea Queen, B, the Ocean Diver, C, the Underwater Woman, or D, the Shark Lady?
I feel like the most American one is Shark Lady.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
You got it! I like how one of these is just the Ocean Diver.
Yeah.
What was she?
I was like, it's not that one.
She's known as the Ocean Diver.
I was like, I could see Ocean like depending on what region of people are naming her, I could see them giving her a really revered name like that. But then I'm like, this is probably some American shit, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, so that is Iconic Women Trivia, which we will read a few cards from next time as well. And now we're going to move on to Books with Becks. Books with Becks. There's not actually a jingle for this, but now there is.
I reckon there is. Okay, so
tell us about your book, because you wrote a book. Becky, you wrote a book.
I wrote a book. Thank you. Sometimes I feel like
you wrote a whole book. You wrote a whole book, right?
A whole book.
A whole book.
A whole book.
Not even half of a book. She wrote a whole book.
A whole book, which apparently I learned that apparently out of all of the people in the world who have the thought, I would like to write a book, only 3% of the people ever actually write a book.
I feel like that's entirely accurate, because there have been plenty of times that I've been like, I want to write a book, and I might have an idea, and then I sit down to think about writing the book, and I'm like, that feels like work, and then I just don't.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
Yeah. And how did this book get started?
My book is a Greek mythology retelling. It's going to be a trilogy, and the main character, we're going to get multiple character point of views throughout the series, but the main character that we're focusing on is Medusa. The first book has 4 different point of views. We follow Medusa, Hestia, Aphrodite, and Icarus, who is a woman in the series. And so there's a few flips like that, a few things that, go a little differently than the way you might expect them to based on what you know of the mythology. Like, Medusa, her story does not end when Perseus shows up. In my story, that's where her story begins. That's where you meet her. That's where everything starts. Her entire narrative just gets rewritten, and so many people that have gotten overlooked will get a different story. And I'm really excited about it. I'm trying to explain it without spoiling anything, which is really difficult.
Yeah.
So
gotta keep it simple.
Yeah. Definitely high heat though. It's definitely smutty. So you need to go. You need to know that going in.
You wrote a smutty book about Medusa.
I did. I did.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
I just enjoy retellings of legends or well-known tales, because they're told the same way every single time, just slight little tweaks. So to have it from a different perspective or to tell it in a different way is fun. I like that.
Yeah.
So how did you get the idea? What was the inspiration for this book?
There we go. So there was a statue. I don't remember who it was by. But it was of Medusa holding the severed head of Perseus. And, in every other narrative, he had shown up and killed her. And in this statue, that entire narrative got flipped, and it just felt so powerful to me, and I loved it. It just sparked just this entire world based off of her character, and I'm really excited about it.
So when you started writing the book, what started you writing the book? What actually, because I know that was the inspiration for it.
Well, I just had a creative burst one day where I just imagined the scene of her having just killed him. And I wrote it out. I just had this creative burst and I wrote it out. And I was like, but this is really cool. And I was like, well, let me see how I can expand on that. And then the idea started to fall flat, really fast. I had no direction for it. I didn't know what to do with it. So I just pushed it aside and didn't even touch it until November when NaNoWriMo rolled around, which is National Novel Writing Month, which is where you set a goal of writing 50,000 words in the month of November, which is, if you don't know very much about writing, that is a very hefty goal.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of words.
I had recently read a book by my friend, actually, Borderlands Princess, by Ophelia Wells Langley. I had read her book, and it was just so beautiful. And it had me starting to think about my story again. And I was like, I really think maybe I could do this. I felt inspired after reading what she had done. And she was on a live one day. We were on a live together on TikTok. And she said, I'm thinking about doing National Novel Writing Month. And I was like, wait, I'll do that with you. Let's do that together. And then we did. And I cranked out a first draft, or a rough draft.
Which is now in what? It's in its editing phase at this point?
It has already been through a developmental edit phase, which means I had a professional developmental editor editor, go through the story and find the spots where it could use a little work, find the spots where it was strong and could be expanded, things like that, to help me really flesh out the story in a way that, in their expert opinion, would resonate well with readers. So I have had that pass, and I should be next week getting my revision notes back from her, and she liked all of my ideas for the revisions, so yay.
Nice.
She said that I laid lots of really good Easter eggs and little bits and pieces to set up perfectly for several books.
So it's going to be a very interesting book based on the way that you're getting the feedback from your person who's editing it right now.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And so this is just you finished writing the book at the end of November?
About 2 weeks into December, I think. So what,
like 2 or 3 months later now, you're already like it's already being edited?
Yeah. Yeah.
What other steps, because I know like I'm really curious about it too, because this is part of why I don't write books, is because getting into all of like the logistics of it just like overwhelms me. But like, what else do you have to do before it's like a book?
So the next phase, if you're doing everything the quote-unquote proper way, depending on what you deem that is, this is the path that I choose to follow. There's many, many different paths that are all valid. I am not diminishing any paths that are not what I'm about to say. So everybody's got different opinions, and what works for them can vary.
Oh, I'm sure.
So my next step is I'm going to get my revision notes back from the developmental editor. And then I'm going to take however long it takes me to go through all of those notes and implement them into my story. And then once I feel like I have addressed everything that I discussed with her and I have it ready to go again, she's going to take another pass at it. Not a full pass, just a quick check and say, yes, things are working. No, this stuff still isn't working. Mm-hmm. And then from there, once I get it back from that stage and I have it ready to go, then it goes out to beta readers, which are going to be the actual readers who are looking at it as a finished product, as opposed to my developmental editor who's looking at it as a work in progress.
Yeah, so it's like your little it's like the focus group. It's like your focus group.
Yes, my focus group. So, it'll go out to beta readers, and then if they have, if there's any heavy feedback from them, then address
make tweaks
that.
if you need to.
Yep. And then it goes to copy editors, which are people who are going to be specifically editing the grammar, the sentence structure and stuff like that, as opposed to the story structure. And then once I get it back from the copy editors, then it goes, so this is all also if I am self-publishing, because at some point during this, I'm probably also going to be querying possibly for traditional publishing. So it depends on, if I traditionally publish, if it gets picked up by a traditional publisher, then some of that editing will be done by them. But if I'm doing all of this myself, then it goes through the copy edits, and then once it is supposedly a finished, polished, ready to go book, then you usually announce a release date, and then just a little bit before your release date, you send it out to a few readers in advance, your ARC team, which stands for Advanced Reader Copy, and they post reviews. They get to read it early in exchange for posting reviews, which they don't actually have to post a review. That's, we would like you to. It's
like sending a PR box, basically.
Yes, exactly. There's no obligation. If an author ever tells you that you are obligated to, you're not obligated to. They're lying. They're wrong. I will stand on that hill. But anyways, then it goes out to your ARC team. Your ARC team starts getting reviews out there, starts talking about it, so that way once the release day comes, people are ready for it. They
and they're pumped about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of work that I don't want to do, but I am so glad that you're happy writing a book, and I love it.
So many of those stages are going to be I am paying other people to do. Like, I'm going to be paying for copy editing, because I'm going to be getting a lot of it myself, but there's a lot of it also that I don't know, Oh,
for sure. So this is the first real thing that you've written that you're actually trying to put work into. So that makes sense.
For sure.
So I know in future versions of Books with Becks, we're going to be talking about other books that Becky is into that are inspiring to her, or books that I'm sure that some of your author friends have written that you're really excited about.
Yep.
But, obviously the very, very first one we wanted to talk about your book, because your book is such a big deal, and I love it, and I love you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I love you, too.
So That's Becky's book. What's the name of your book?
Heroines of Olympus.
Heroines of Olympus.
That's either going to be the name of the first book or the name of the trilogy within the first book having a different title. Not sure, but Heroines of Olympus is what I have for...
working title.
Yeah.
I love it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So in addition to doing all of the awesome stuff that we have already talked about with our Badass Bitch of the Month, with Becky's book, with the iconic women, Becky and I also listen to a lot of music, and we would love to be able to share some of that with the world, because you and I tend to listen to some weird stuff that not everybody has really listened to. So we made a Spotify playlist that we are going to be continually adding to. The very first episode, this one here, we added 10 songs each. Mm-hmm. So we have 20 songs on the playlist currently, and we do plan on adding probably an additional 5 songs each podcast episode that we do. So currently on the playlist, do you want to talk about your songs? You want me to talk about mine? You don't have to talk about every single one, but like...
Sure. I'll start with my number 1, which it's ridiculous. Like, I feel so vain, but I love this song so much because it's such a good song. So it's Becky's So Hot by Fletcher. Like, oh my gosh. I love that.
It's because you're so hot.
Becky, this song is just ridiculous. And Fletcher is ridiculous. So
we love Becky's So Hot by Fletcher.
We love anything by Fletcher. Fletcher's makes it on there twice. She's also an arcade.
And I listened to Becky's So Hot. I've heard that a few times, and I do really like it as well. It's really good. And then what? Water Me by Lizzo.
That is my favorite Lizzo song.
It's such a good song. And we're going to go see Lizzo.
I know. My birthday, Lizzo is going to be in my state on my birthday. So we're going to go see Lizzo.
Yeah, we're going to go see Lizzo.
I'm so excited. I'm so unbelievably excited.
We will eventually talk about that on this podcast, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh.
It'll be just like the Lizzo episode.
It'd be amazing.
And then Don't Be Racist.
That is a fantastic song. That is by a band called Magnolia Park.
I like the title already.
They have like super like 2000s, like, I don't want to call it rock, but like you know what I mean, like kind of punk bands and stuff. Yeah, a punk band. I'm sorry,
pop punk.
Yeah, I'm struggling with words a little bit, but yeah, really good pop punk band, and that song is just really awesome.
Nice.
I really like it. You really need to listen to it. It's a good song.
All right, next one is Power Over Me.
That one is a really big sound on Book Talk, and I don't know. It's got.
So it's related to your interests.
It's really emotive.
Nice. And then we have Arcade, which of course is by Fletcher.
Yes.
Or well, it's featuring Fletcher. I'm sorry.
It's a duet. Really good, really powerful vocals.
I had heard that song before too, because I listened to the songs on the playlist before this, but that song I know I had heard probably before I ever even heard Becky So Hot. Warrior of the Mind.
That is the epic saga. It's a musical that someone is putting together based on Greek mythology. It's really good.
Nice.
It's really good.
That's cool. Flowers by Miley Cyrus. I wonder why that one's on there. Nobody's ever heard of this song before.
I know. It was not supposed to be stuff that people haven't heard of.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying. I just think it's funny.
I was really vibing to that.
It's just the songs that we enjoy that we connect to. Parrot. Well, you got a couple Taylor Swift songs on there, of course.
Yeah, 2 songs from Midnight's. One's from the 3 a.m. edition, Paris, and You're on Your Own, Kid. Just really some of the best songs from that album. Just really enjoying.
Because you're just a little bit of a Swiftie.
Just a little bit.
Just a little Swiftie.
A little bit. And let's see. What else we got there?
Silk Chiffon.
Oh, that song's hella gay. That's all I need to say about that.
I think the next ones are mine.
Yep.
So then I've got Upside Down by Set It Off, which is that's the song that has helped me get through really bad mental health stuff. It's better for when you're in the mindset where you need a positive song to listen to, because the whole thing is him talking about how he has really bad luck, and he's just it's cool, I'm gonna turn this smile upside down, everything's fine. So I enjoy listening to it. It actually does help my brain sometimes. I Am the Highway by Audio Slave is one of my favorite songs. I can belt that song though because it's in my vocal range.
That's awesome.
Because it's Chris Cornell. You know Chris Cornell?
Yeah.
If you don't know who Chris Cornell is, Chris Cornell was in Soundgarden, and he was also in Audio Slave as well. His vocals are absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, he did pass away from suicide a few years back, but he was absolutely one of the best male vocalists that I've ever heard. I love the sound of his voice.
Incredible vocals.
I love that song so much. Then we had Earworm and What Did You Mean by Love by Wolfpack. Wolfpack is my personal favorite band, and those are 2 songs that are on on the newest Wolfpack album that came out relatively recently. Earworm is very appropriately titled. Do you know what an earworm is? Mm-hmm. So if you don't know what an earworm is, Becky already does. An earworm is something that gets stuck in your head. And this song, holy crap, will get stuck in your head. It's so catchy. And then What Did You Mean by Love is a song that was originally on one of the members of Wolfpack's solo albums. His name is Theo Katzman. Theo Katzman does a lot of his own solo stuff, and he's in this band as well. And this is a different version of that song with one of the vocalists that works with Wolfpack a lot. So it's just really, really nice. I love hearing a different version of the same song, but it's still like has the same vibe to it. It's great.
Oh, cool.
Making Do by Lake Street Dive. That's another, it's good, and it's also kind of depressing. Because it's like the lyrics in the beginning, it's just like, to the next generation, Merry Christmas. You're working harder than ever now, and the coffee sucks.
Awesome.
And then they say Colombia and Kenya got way too hot, and now we're making do with what we've got. So like the whole song is about how like the world is horrible, but it's real catchy.
You're on your own, kid.
It's so good. And then, you know, just to lighten up the mood a bit, Milk and Cereal.
Yeah.
By G Love and Special Sauce. Have you ever heard that song?
No.
I heard this song originally in like a Newgrounds.com video. Do you remember Newgrounds? Mm-mm. Newgrounds is like one of those websites that like when in the early days of the interwebs, like of like YouTube and stuff like that, Newgrounds was, you could find a lot of things on Newgrounds. But there was this one video that these two dudes just recorded to this song. This entire song is so ridiculous. It's just like, milk and cereal, milk and cereal, milk and cereal, cereal and milk. I don't want my Wheaties, give them to the needy. Like, it's all about, it's about cereal. They mentioned like a lot of different kinds of cereal, but somehow it works. So that's the milk and cereal song. I Am Steve by Hey Steve. That's another just very silly, whimsical song that is goofy, but also really good. Que Sera by Wax Taylor is just really, really catchy and kind of like lo-fi, but also just, it gets stuck in my head like crazy. And I've just been kind of jamming out to that. And then we've got two songs by another one of my favorite bands called Ripe. One song is called Queen of the City, and one song is called Settling. So Ripe is just, they're from Boston, and I want to see them live someday really badly, but they actually like incorporate horns into their songs, and Settling especially I love that song a lot. It's it basically he talks about a woman that it's like, you get mad when you get told to shut your mouth, and it's basically saying like doing nothing feels a lot like settling. Yeah. So it's just any day that I'm having a day that I just feel like I'm just doing what I'm told too much, and I need to like break out of that because I feel like I'm settling. Like that song just kind of reminds me of that a little bit, and I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's our current playlist. We will not have quite a giant segment on it every other time because we're just going to do 5 songs each instead of 10 each. But yeah, we're going to keep that playlist ongoing. And we are going to add links to that so that everybody can find it. That's pretty much all that we've got for the podcast this time, this very, very first episode. You can follow us on TikTok for updates of where you can listen to the podcast and for more information. Our TikTok is at Anything But Appliances. Just all 3 of those words fully spelled out. And our podcast is going to be hosted currently on Anchor. So it's going to be anchor.fm/anythingbutappliances. So you can find it both of those places. You'll find clips of this episode, assuming you can see both of us in the frame because we filmed this in portrait. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have any other final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Thanks for joining us here. If we ever start getting videos posted on TikTok, you guys can comment and let us know if there's like segments that you think might be cool, things like that. If there's ever questions you guys have, can't always answer them, but if there's we ever see the right question, just we look for feedback as well. We want to hear what everybody thinks. Yeah. So once we get stuff going that you can comment and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and especially too if you've already listened to some, the stuff in this podcast, this episode, and if you think that there's anything that you would like to hear from us, as long as it has nothing to do with appliances.
Nothing.
Anything but appliances. So if you have any questions for me or for Becks, you can certainly ask those questions in the comments. We do plan on eventually having a Q&A section where we answer your questions. We do also want to bring on guests. So we have a few people in mind already. We're not going to tell you who they are, but we have a few people in mind already. We want to bring guests on who are doing unique things, especially especially things that we feel like make a positive difference in the world.
Yep.
So there are, I have a few friends that see what happens, but we will have special guests in the future. We will have a Q&A segment in the future. And again, if y'all have any other suggestions, feel free to let us know. Otherwise, my name is Renee.
My name is Becky.
And this has been Anything But Appliances.
Thanks.
Bye.